Scroll down just a little bit. Oops, did my screen share go away? Oh, I guess it's fine. The highlighting went away, so it threw me off. So I'm going to go ahead and click Mozilla Firefox and then add to Firefox. Works with, well, every web browser I've come across so far. Chromium-based, Chrome, Safari, Firefox. What's some of the other ones? Opera, Edge. I've got Microsoft Edge on here as well, so should be able to install it right away. I do like Firefox for some of its features. This right here is a little sidebar that I can use. I'm not going to use it today, but it is pretty handy. What I'm going to use is this icon up here. And I'm going to create a new Gmail account. Not that I need another email account, but I want to show you how to do it inside the web browser. So let me log in first. Now I have already created my Bitwarden account, as most of us have already done. If you haven't already, we have videos on how to do that. And I need to log in. My master password is the keys to the kingdom, so it has to be safe and secure. And here we are. So what I'm going to do now is move this down so I can close it. And I am at Google's website to create a new account. So here we go. Create an account. Okay, so first name, last name. It wants to know what I want for an email address. So let's do something with this in it. Honestly, you need to pick an email address that makes sense for you. I'm just picking this, and I'm going to try to delete the account later, so we'll see what happens. Now, I need to create a password. My computer is trying to be helpful and telling me, hey, I can create a password for you, but I don't want that. I actually want Bitwarden to do it. So let me go here to my Bitwarden icon, and then I'm going to click this plus sign. So this is where you go when you want to create a brand new account. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the dog. I may have to go put them in there, make a playpen or something. Okay, so you click the plus sign, and then it knows you're on this website. So by default, it is putting that as the account name. This name is actually pretty important. It's how you recognize it, not how the computer recognizes it, but how would you recognize it? If you went into Bitwarden and you wanted to find this login, what would make sense to you? In this case, my intention is to create a Gmail account, so I might put Gmail or Google or something like that. Now, since I have a few, I'm going to do one extra step. Some of you may have this problem too. I'm going to put in the email address in the description, just so I can see that in the actual list. So first things first, username. Now I've created that over here, and I could copy. So sorry. I am so sorry. They're fighting over a Chewy, 3 of them. They all have one. Okay. So the username is, in this case, the email address. So I'm just going to go ahead and either type or copy this. Now the password, I need to generate one. It's blank right now, so I'm going to create a password using these arrows here, this generate password button. So when I click it, it's going to pop up a password's automatically created for me, but I'm not quite happy with what it's showing. So what I want to do is maybe increase the length. Remember when we talked about password length, we've actually, I believe, touched on it every single time. 12 characters is the minimum you want to do. Anything less than that, and your password's going to be cracked pretty easily. So when you get to this point, you may think, oh goodness, I don't want to create a 100-character password, because how am I going to remember that? Well, you don't. You don't have to remember it. Your password manager remembers it for you. Now, 128 characters is a bit much. I'm not going to do that. Some websites don't even let you do that many characters. So I'm going to go down to, well, what's a good age? We want to go for 30, 32. 32 is a good age, right? We'll go for 32. Still long. You're still probably thinking, there's no way I'm ever going to remember this password. Remember, you don't have to. That's not the point of this. The password manager does the remembering for us. So you pick a number you're comfortable with. The larger the number, the better, the more secure. But you have to be comfortable when you first start using this tool. And you may even decide later on, oh, I created that password. I only did 12 characters. Now I get it. I understand what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and change the password and increase the size of it, and that's fine too. So pick what you're comfortable with. Now the options below this are pretty important. You have capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers. They're all checked. But for some reason, the special characters are not checked. I'm going to go ahead and check it. Now I'm going to scroll up first. So watch this right here. When I check this option, it automatically generates a new password, putting in those random characters. Then below this, you can really get crazy and start digging in if you want to. I'm going to tell you, don't worry about this right now. Pick a password length that's comfortable for you. Make sure everything's checked, comfortable for you and comfortable for something that'll actually work on the website. And then use this password. You can decide if you don't like it. I don't care what it is, because again, I'm not remembering it. You can keep regenerating this password until you see something you're comfortable with, but it's never going to go back to the one it generated before. It's randomly generated. And again, I don't really care what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with this and do select. So here in the password field, it now has my 32 character password. I really don't need to do anything else other than save. Okay. So it is now in my password manager. Just to make sure, I'm going to type the email address. Again, it's a searchable field. I did put it in the title. And I can copy the password from this password manager. I can copy the username. I can even say, hey, open up a new web page from this application. I don't really need to do all that. So what I'm going to try to do is have it fill in the password. Now it does have to hit 2 fields, so we're going to see how well it does, but we're just going to click it. So it doesn't quite know what to do with it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it. So back here, I could copy it here, and then I can paste. Now, you can right click, or I think it's control click on a Mac, command click, and choose paste, or you can do control C, or I'm sorry, control V as in Victor, or command V as in Victor to paste it. I'm actually curious why it didn't fill that in at all. So we'll take a look at this one. I may have to create another account just to make sure, because I really wanted to show you how it auto fills that password. But we're going to go ahead and skip on. This is my web browser trying to be helpful. Hey, would you like me to remember that password for you? No, I really don't. The web browser is not the most secure way to store passwords, so I'm going to say do not save. It does want a telephone number. I do not want to put my telephone number in here. So let's do something different. Let's go create a Tesla account. I don't want to expose personal information. That's silly. So let's see if I can actually create a Tesla account here. Okay, here we go. So if I go to my password manager, I actually have one I created. This is a fake account I created earlier, but I'm going to do the same thing. Click the plus sign, and then it says, what do you want the email to be? Okay, we'll pick something. This is actually a valid email for myself. Going to click the generate. Again, all I'm making sure we have checked here is all these options. and then password length. Again, pick whatever's comfortable for you. Again, the minimum is 12 characters. That's the minimum I recommend. So what the heck, we'll go with 12. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to name it something that makes sense. Oops. Since it's a fake account, I'll go ahead and delete that. And that's it, save. So let's see what we get here. So I'm going to click this, and it autofills just like that. So it happens so quick, I want to make sure I do it one more time. Let me go ahead and delete this, and go here. Let me go ahead and log in with the real account. So I click it. It autofills for me everything I need. I click sign in. Again, the web browser is trying to be helpful, and I say no thank you. And it signs me into this Tesla account I created. So I told you I wanted to create an account, and that's not the button I created. I actually clicked, so let's do that one more time. The distraction with the dogs is driving me nuts. I apologize. So down here, create an account. First name, last name, email address. I've already created it, so we'll pick that. There's my 12-character password. I can look at it if I want to. Sure, send me all the updates, send me everything. I'm going to delete it anyways, and of course, I'm not a robot. And this is where I typically fail signing up for something. Hey, it worked that time. So again, I didn't type anything here. I created it in Bitwarden. And before I go ahead and click continue, let me just create it one more time for the sake of learning. I create another fake account. We'll call it Tesla. Delete me. I don't remember what I said for the other one. This one would be Tesla 4. And again, I want to generate a password. So I click this button right here. I don't care about, length because I don't have to remember it. So let's go a little higher. And regenerate, select, everything looks good, save. Wait just a second. So here's my new account. It should be smart enough to know this is the email and password field. So let's see what happens here. Tesla 4, it was smart. It did the right one. Again, I could look at the password if I want to, but who cares what it is? I waited too long to click continue, so I'm going to have to do this verification. Let's see how well I do this time. Boats. That, I guess, is a boat. This thing's so small, I can't tell. Okay, good. So I'm ready to create the account. Now, if Tesla's happy with the 21-character password, I should be good to go. And actually, I can look at that right here. Minimum of 8 characters, must have at least a letter and a number. Well, that's a number and a letter. So that's pretty easy. Again, my web browser says, do you want to save it? Nope. No, thank you. And now I have a fourth, well, I guess a third. I didn't actually create that Tesla 3 account, but now I have another Tesla account that I can come in and set up anything I need. This should work just fine for Gmail. I'm actually not sure why it didn't autofill, but here I am with a new account. And all I did was use this guy right here. I didn't go to the app like I did before. I just went right here, click the plus sign, and we were off to the races. So I think that was what we needed to do, right, John?
Oh, that's only part of what you needed to do. Because
you mean we're not done?
We're not done. As we know in the computer world, there is always more than one way to do something. And everybody has their comfort level of which they do. So now I'm going to back up about 10 minutes and say, okay, repeat using the client.
Okay.
Or the app, as somebody might call it, or the program.
So let me open up the client. This is actually this is my preferred method, but it's a little more difficult. It's not hard. It's just you have to remember to copy and paste. And I did create that fake Tesla account in here. So let's let it sync here. Okay. Let me go ahead and force a sync. This was one of our questions. If I go from one PC to the next, how does it sync? So when you log in and out of Bitwarden, it should automatically sync. Now, what I think happened here is the extension has not synced back with the Bitwarden servers. So let me go ahead and force it. This is actually something to write down. This is one of the things that Bitwarden doesn't do quite as well as some of the other password managers. I don't know why. I've actually submitted a ticket to them saying, hey, can you fix this? Certainly it saves on bandwidth, but I just want it to be magic. I want it to just sync and I don't have to think about it. So here's one of the things I'd have you guys write down. If you ever notice a password is in one place, but not in the other. See, I only have Tesla 2. I don't have 3 and 4 like I do right here, 3 and 4. You need to sync it. Sync it where it is to get it where you want it to be. So we're in the extension. So that's where it's appearing. And I want it to appear here in the app. So I'm going to go down to settings. And then I'm going to go to sync. And I'm going to sync the vault now. Now you'll see the last time it actually did a sync was a while ago, almost 20 minutes ago. So we're going to force a sync. Great. Now it's in Bitwarden servers, but guess what? It's not here yet. So I'm going to go ahead and log out. And then I'm going to log back in. And it should synchronize. It did not. So here I can force a sync as well. And I have to remember where, I think it's in a few different places. Here it is. So file, sync vault. Now this is on a Mac. So on a Windows computer, it may not say file. It may actually say something else. So if it's not there, I have seen it under settings and preferences where you can also synchronize it. But I have it front and center. So file, sync vault. There it is. This is the one thing it just doesn't do as well as some of the other applications. I love Bitwarden, but I wish they would just fix these little annoyances here. Okay, so the comment was, we need you to do it from the client. So I'm going to go ahead and delete Tesla 3. We didn't actually create it, so off it goes. And I'm going to create another one. So in the extension, I would click the plus sign. If you look towards the bottom of the app, right there, you'll see a plus sign. Now, this is why it's a little more difficult. When you do it from the browser, it's smart enough to say, hey, I know where you are. You're on Tesla.com. But I'm not in the browser. I'm in the application itself. So that's another bit of information that I have to fill in. So we'll go from top to bottom. This is a login. Usually, you won't even change this. So login is the default. And we'll do a name that's familiar to us. And then I'll do my email address I'd like to use. Oops, we want to use 3. And then we're going to generate a password. Now, in the app on your computer, it doesn't show you the settings by default. So you have to toggle options on by clicking options or clicking the plus sign. When you do that, all of a sudden, everything opens up. I'm not sure why it doesn't show you everything, but I'm going to change this to 21 characters because we know that's way more secure than 12. And they're all checked, so that's good. I'm just going to go ahead and click this plus, which is select. Now, normally we would be done. In the extension, we would just save and off we go. But we are not in the extension. We need to actually put in the website. So I'm going to try something. Bitwarden is supposed to be smart enough to know HTTP, HTTPS, www, login.tesla.com, tesla.com/anything else. This is supposed to pick anything that surrounds tesla.com. We're going to test it right now. So again, I don't need to do anything else at this point, but I have to put in a web URL. If I don't, the extension doesn't work quite right. So can I go ahead and save it? And as we know, it probably did not synchronize. So I'm going to go ahead and force that, sync fault. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Sync fault. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and create a new account. So create account, first name, last name, email address. Of course, I could type it in, but I'm lazy. I'm going to go ahead and let it type it for me. Just to verify, that is definitely not 12 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it did pick the most up-to-date one by synchronizing it manually. I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I agree. Sure, send me updates. And I'm not a robot. Hey, it didn't ask me any pictures this time. That makes it easy. So create. Now, before I do that, there's another way that there's another thing you may have to do. So as you saw earlier, when I went to gmail.com, or I tried to create a Gmail account, it did not autofill. So I want to show you how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. We know it worked, but let's pretend that it didn't work for just a second. So copying and pasting becomes your best friend. There are 2 keyboard shortcuts I'd like you to write down and memorize. I use them constantly, probably because I use Password Manager, but I also work on documentation and all sorts of different things where I need to copy physical text and put it somewhere else. So right-clicking doesn't always work. You can try it. When you right-click, gives you a menu, and then it gives you options. But in this case, I'm going to assume the worst and say it doesn't work. So I'm going to go here to test. Well, come on. Oh, I was already there. Sorry. I'm used to a different color and I didn't see it highlighted. So Bitwarden gives you a nice little copy username, copy password. So that's one way to do it, and that's the easy way. But I'm going to teach you the keyboard shortcuts because why not? So control, holding down the control key, and then pressing and releasing C. So I'll hold down, I'm on a Mac, I'll do command, but control C copies it. So I pressed and held control, pressed the C key, and then lifted up on both keys. It's copied it. Let's see if it works, shall we? Control, it's not P as in paste, it's control V as in Victor. There's actually a reason for that, and I forget the reason, but control C for cat, copy, control V for paste. For those on a Mac, your control key is your command key. So again, in Bitwarden, I can copy it, and I'm going to go ahead and do that for this one because we do know that it's control or command C, but I'm going to paste using control V, command V on a Mac. And I'm just going to make sure it looks the same. So let's move this out of the way. Looks the same to me. Control C, control V. Those are the 2 things you should memorize. It'll be very useful.
And as a little bit of a side note, the reason for the control V is because it's next to control C, which is next to control X, X for cut, C for copy, the next letter in the line, V, no other reason.
Ah, that's a good reason.
And control P is already taken with print.
Print, you're right, yes. Control P is print. I wonder what control T is. That's tabs. Okay, now we're going down a rabbit hole, aren't we? Okay.
The other thing, Kenneth, you asked, and I just checked, the syncing for Windows is under File. It just says, to sync.
Oh, good. So it's in the same spot. File sync. Okay, at least there's consistency there. That's good. Thank you for looking. So you can do it from here. You can do it from here. It accomplishes the same thing. Again, when your web browser asks you to save passwords, the answer is no, because our password manager is doing it. So now I have another Tesla account that I'll probably get 4 or 5 emails from, and that's it. I've created my account. Anybody want to give me their credit card? I'd be happy to order a car for myself and have it delivered. I'll let you drive it every once in a while if you're nice, but
Kenneth, can I ask you to do something? You're using Safari, aren't you?
I'm using Firefox.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I want. Because there was a question, and I've even had that experience, that I've got Bitwarden, the extension on my Firefox, but I don't see the icon. And that drove me kind of crazy. And I think somebody else said, I've got it, but I don't see the icon. And at least, there you go.
So yes, that does actually, I've seen it happen more on Chrome, and I don't know why Chrome in particular, but if you customize the toolbar, this is where you can add and remove items. Now, I believe this particular, these are extensions, isn't that what they call them? I believe you actually add them from a different spot, but let's take a deep dive here. Where are you, extensions? Okay, so anybody know where I can go to find extensions in Firefox? Actually, I think you have to go to a website, don't you? Oh, here it is. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Extensions and themes. So on this, isn't quite what I wanted. There we go, extensions. Okay. So roundabout way to get there, I'll go through it again. Of course, I probably won't find it if I do that, but we're going to go for it. So in Firefox, if you click what's called the hamburger menu over here, you'll see preferences right there. And you'll see extensions right there. And then you have to go to extensions. If this isn't toggled on, watch this area right here. If this is toggled off, it disappears. So see, it's gone. So come in here, see if it's on. If it's not, go ahead and toggle it on. It should come back. Is that what you're looking for, John? We lost John.
Sometimes the space bar doesn't work. It depends on the number of extensions you might have. Your browser may only have room for 4, and if you have
'Tis the season.
if you have 5 or 6, the last 2 might be dropped off. On my Firefox, I've got a couple little arrows that shows me more. And that's where mine was. And so I had to move it up into the front spot and drop something else I didn't need to be visible all the time. So that's just how much space you have on your browser. But if you have the extension on the computer, that icon will be there if it's set to be visible.
Let's go ahead and add a bunch of extensions. I can delete them. See if we can duplicate that. So not quite enough. Firefox is actually, reason why it's one of my favorite browsers is because of extensions. I can, I know this is a little off topic, but if I go to Facebook, for example, only Facebook can see what's in one particular tab. They have a Google extension that blocks Google from seeing anything else that's going on. Here's another password manager. There's ad blockers. I don't think I'm going to get enough before it freaks out there, but the ... he was mentioning is over here. So nope, don't want to pay you. Don't know if you're any good or not. Let me do a few more. Try to get some up there. Maybe if I make my browser windows, yeah, okay, smaller, I might be able to do it. Nope, it's too smart. Go ahead and ask
On
me
mine,
another.
I've customized my browser and have added some other shortcuts, and I think that's what does it, depending on how you've got it. Firefox leaves so much room for its extensions. If it can't show them all, it's going to drop them down into you know, the two little carrots for the more symbol, and it would
Yep.
be there, and you just rearrange them.
Yep. And it's too smart for me. It keeps moving this bar in, so we'll be here all day. Okay, so that was the one thing I was asked to show. Is there any other clarity on that particular topic that we should go into, or would you like to jump into the questions?
I'm kind of thinking, we showed how you get to a website and fill it in. I think the only other question would be dealing with, I have all my accounts already set up, and you know, it is not an easy procedure to go and change all of your passwords, but Bitwarden can help if you get to the location in your account where you can change passwords.
Mm-hmm. Let's do that then. So I can change the password on my new Tesla account that I don't need. Just go ahead and log in. Oh, now it's out. Let's use the Tesla 4, sign in. Now, depending on the owner's website, you would go to a different place to change your password. And email is a very common thing. I actually haven't changed my Gmail password in a while, so perhaps I'll go in and do that. But let's see. Typically, you dig into a section called account. So let's see if it's here. And password. So easy. We go here. They might do it a little different. So let's see. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Okay, so they're going to send me an email. That's fine. Bicycles. I don't know if it wants the wheel. We're going to go ahead and pick every part of it. Apparently it didn't like that. Okay. Okay. Let me move this off screen. And let me go check the email. I'll open it up on the other screen. So we're waiting for an email. There we go. Okay, I'm going to open up that email message and pull it over here so you can see. So they want me to just click here. I'm going to do that. It's going to ask for the old password. I have this habit. I don't know if it's a good habit or not, but I think it's my issue with trust. Well, I know why. Actually, I remember getting bit for this. I tried to reset a password and it said, well, none of that works. Go ahead and give me the last password that you used. Well, I don't know what it is. I had a password manager create it. So what I've been doing now is I copy the password and then I add it to the notes section. So I'll put in here old password and then I date it. So today is October 30th, paste. Control C or Command C on a Mac, Control V as in Victor to paste, or Command V. And I don't actually need to save it yet because what I'm going to do is regenerate. Well, let me go ahead and save it just to be safe. So here we have Tesla asking me to generate a new password. I can do it through the extension, but I'm going to do it from here. This is my preferred way. You do what works for you. So right here is the old password. I'll go ahead and show it. Going to generate a new one. It says, are you sure you want to overwrite this? Well, I'm okay. I copied it and put it into my notes. So yes, I'd like you to overwrite it. Again, I'm going to look at the options. Everything looks good. Go ahead and choose that, save it. Now, as we know, if I want to do it from the extension, I've got to force the sync or log out. So I'm going to cheat and copy it. So Control C or click this button here. And it does want me to put it into 2 different slots just to verify that I typed it correctly. So Control V or Command V for a Mac, Command V again, save and continue. No, thank you. Passwords changed. Tesla made it super easy. I don't think Gmail makes it that easy, actually. So, what's an account I don't use? I don't use my AOL account. Does anybody have an AOL email address still? I know I have one. Let me go ahead and change the password on it. This is an existing account. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Click this. There it is. Click next. No, I don't want you to save it. And then new page for the password. I just click, autofills. Next. I guess I have to say never save. Sorry. Okay, I don't have any of these anymore. So I don't know what to do here. Looks good. We're going to lie. Okay, new privacy settings. Great, great, great. Don't care. Don't use the account. Okay, so we're on AOL. Now we have to figure out where to go to get to the account. Now I see this right here. I see this right here. I'm going to try it. I'm going to click it, see if I get anything. Okay, good. So where shall we go? Where? Oh, change password. Okay, so account security. It's a little bit of investigation to get there, but account security is what I want. Password is enabled. Well, that's good. I don't know how you could log in without a password, so we're going to go ahead and change the password. So it's asking me for the new password. Again, I want to be safe, so I'm going to type AOL. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to edit this login. Again, all I'm doing is pasting the old password. And I can show you because I'm getting ready to change it. So there's my old password. Save. Let me verify that. Yes. Okay. So there's my old password. I'm okay. I'm going to go ahead and generate a new password. Yes. Make sure the options are good. Looks good to me. Save. I don't want to sync the extension back and forth, so I'm going to copy. And I know I'm doing this quick, so maybe I should slow down a bit. So I'm copying with this button right here. The 2 pieces of paper or 2 squares that are on top of each other. It's supposed to symbolize duplicate or copy. So I just click it, and you can see I've copied it a few times. You can copy it as much as you want. It's only going to copy it once. So here, I could right-click and paste. Works just fine. Or Control V as in Victor. It likes my password. That's good. So hit continue. Success. I've now reset my password on AOL, an email address that I never use. And I just got an email from AOL saying, hey, did you reset your password? So let's make sure it works. I'm going to have to sync. So File, Sync Vault, sync it where it is, and then sync where you want it to go. So force sync here, sync. Wait for that to go away. Go away, please. Okay, I'll just get out of it. So click the link or click the Bitwarden icon, click this, fills in my email, click it again, click. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just clicking. I'm not copying. I'm not typing. I'm just click, 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 and off we go. And new password works fine. So I guess we're okay.
That's good. I will make just a slight comment that depending on the site that you go to, like this time with AOL, you had to, click and paste separately the username and password. I have to do that sometimes, but some of the websites I click it once, fills in both of them, and I don't have to do it twice. It's their website of how they handle you entering that information.
That is correct. And let me try to, so let's go to Ace Hardware. I don't go to Ace Hardware very often, but let's actually open it up. So what I did was I clicked on next to the website. There's this box with an arrow flying out of it. If you hover over it long enough, it says launch. If you click it, it launches Ace Hardware in a new window. So do you want to know my location? Nope. So here I click sign in. Let's see if it, so right here, it's giving us both fields. That's great. This is a good example. If it works, let's see. So we click the extension, we click one time, and both fields get filled in. I did nothing. All I did was click. Let me do it one more time. I'm not even in the field. See, my cursor is no longer there. I click, it fills in. Third time's a charm, right? Again, I'm not there. Click Bitwarden. It's smart enough to know that I'm on that website. So it says Ace Hardware. It even has the icon for Ace. I click and it fills it in and I sign in. And again, thank you, but no thank you. Never save. And now I'm into my account. So easy peasy.
Nice job. But we're not done yet.
Of course not. There's
No.
14 questions.
That's correct. And what we'll do is Judy has questions that have been submitted from last time and in between. So she's going to play Stump the Host with questions. And then once we're kind of done with those, then we'll open up for everyone so that we can have questions and discussions and see what else. So Judy, if you want to unmute and take over this part, you can. There she is.
Let me find my questions.
Oh, and Ken, we're going to have you stay sharing so that you have quick access
Yes.
to whatever you need to.
Yep. You lost him already? You just had him.
I know. Well,
Let's
you know,
see how
bad-
good my memory is. You read them so quick.
That
Um,
happens. No, I'll get him here. I was just, listening to you and straightening up, and I straightened up a little bit too much here.
I
So
think-
Wondered
one
what
of the
what that shredding noise was.
I had my mic on. What can I tell you?
Oh, Bill James, I like
Okay,
your
here we
profile
go.
picture. Very nice.
All right.
Wow.
You've already done the first one, and which is please review steps for adding passwords on PC. And the second one, can you sync Bitwarden passwords? The third question is, is the paid version of Bitwarden safer?
No,
And
it's exactly
if
the
I
same.
have already gotten the free version, how do I change it to the paid version?
Very, very good question. They're exactly the same as far as security goes. The difference between a paid account and a free account are features. So right here on Bitwarden's website, bitwarden.com/pricing, you can actually look at what the different feature sets are. So this is pretty easy to read. There's actually multiple paid accounts too. So there's a premium account, which is what I have, and a family account, which is probably what I should have bought, that allows multiple people access to Bitwarden. But let's see. So I can't share items in either one of these accounts. On the file size, encrypted file size, remember, these are just text files, so they don't take up much storage, but Bitwarden is giving me a very, very generous 1 GB of storage for my passwords. I doubt I even have 100 megabytes worth of passwords, and I have hundreds of passwords. And then you get, well, that's pretty generic premium features. Okay, what are they? Bitwarden Authenticator. I don't use Bitwarden's Authenticator. What is an authenticator? So have you guys ever signed up for, I'm sure you have, a login and it says, hey, we want to set up two-factor authentication. Give us your cell phone number, we'll send you a text, and then we'll send you a code. Well, that's not very secure. As we found out in the news, people's cell phone numbers can be taken from them and put on other phones, and then they have the second factor of authentication. So there are apps that now allow you to do that. The one I use is called Authy. I've actually never been to their website, so let's see if they've got one. So Authy, it may not be the most secure, I honestly don't know. It's good enough for me. The reason why I use this, it's not tied to Google, it's not tied to Microsoft, it's not tied to a password manager. It's its own thing. This is what they do and they do it well. And I can synchronize it. So just like my password manager, I needed to set up a master password. When I set up an Authy account, I set up a password, but then there's a code that you put in. So I've set up a separate code for that as well. Authy works on Android, it works on iOS. I actually have never downloaded it on a computer. I should probably do that. We'll do that right now. But this is a set, or this is another way to do two-factor authentication. So Bitwarden is giving you that, and I'm sure it's secure. I'm not trying to say it's not. I'm sure it's secure, but I don't feel really good about putting all my eggs in one basket. I'd rather have that second factor of authentication somewhere else. What's the other password? LastPass also does this for you. So great feature. I'll never use it, at least not right now. As far as two-factor logins go, they do give you more options. YubiKey is actually a physical key. So all these duos and application, I don't know what UTF is, I haven't used that, but 2FA stands for two-factor authentication. When you pay for the account, it does this. The point is, all you get when you pay is more features. So if you don't need the features, don't pay for it. Now, I did need one of the features, and that was cloning. So when I manage an IT company, and I actually work for a few places where I'm part of their IT team, and I have servers in here. So let's say, here's an old server I'll show you. Oh, well, I guess I deleted it. Nope, okay. So here's a server. I know most of this information will be the same. So what I want to do is I don't want to click the plus sign and then fill out everything all over again. I just want to duplicate most of it. So I go to this button right here, this clone button, and it creates a brand new login, a brand new item for me. It does say clone, and this might be, we're now doing DC3. So it's not a clone, but it's DC3. I don't want the same password. I'm going to go ahead and reset it. And yes, don't care what it is. And then I will go ahead and delete the notes because they're no longer valid. And the IP address instead of 81 is 82. So this has saved me time. I save it, and now I have that third entry. I couldn't do that with a free account, so I had to pay for the account. It's only $10, I think, right? $10 was it? Yeah, $10 for the whole year. So a couple cups of coffee from Starbucks and you're paid off. The family account's $40, and it's a better value if you have 6 people that actually need an account. It's better to do that. The thing I like about the family account is you can share items. So if you're in an enterprise, and one of the questions, Judy, was how do you share passwords between each other if you don't want to give them the keys to the kingdom, that you don't want to give them your Bitwarden login? This is your answer. Family sharing. You need to get a family account and set them up with you set up your own account, you set that other person up with a Bitwarden account, and then you share only what you want them to see. You share individual items with them. A lot of companies do this in their password managers. Hey, 2 for 1. Even though that was a long-winded answer, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I You got it. I crossed 2 off. Okay,
Perfect.
how do I know when the passwords that I create are safe?
Well, I would say if you created them, they're not safe. But if Bitwarden created them, they are safe. The methods they use to generate passwords it's pretty advanced. They don't even share everything they do. At least I haven't read, although it is open source, so it's probably out there. But basically, it takes random bits of information from multiple places. And I can't remember what the encryption is called now. But basically, I'm on a Mac right now. I'm on a specific model of a Mac. I'm running a specific version of Mac OS. I have a specific resolution on my computer. The brightness is set to a certain level. The desktop background might be different from yours. So all these different elements on the computer are things it can take that's specific to my device, but create a generic password. It's called salting. I'm getting, the terms are coming back to me. So it will take little bits and pieces of information from multiple places and incorporate that into the password. So let's say my screen is at 50% brightness. It'll say, okay, that's an algorithm I can use. I'm going to put that in the password. And then it just randomly generates one, and it never repeats it. It's one time only, never to come back again. So that's about the only way I could say, if you say you're creating it, it's not secure. But if you let your password manager do it, it is secure. I have seen some password managers that do not actually create very good passwords. So if you want to go to bitwarden.com, and let me find it because I don't know what the web URL is. Okay, so bitwarden.com/password-generator. I can put that in chat here in a little bit. That is a web version of creating a secure password. It's doing all the same sorts of things. It's finding random bits of information. It allows you to pick, again, these options here. Now, it's not saving it. So before you go away, you do need to copy it and then probably want to remember it somewhere. Password manager would be the best place for it. A text editor, not so much. This is out in the open. So maybe if it's temporary, put it in there, but it's secure. It's been audited. Actually, I think they got audited last month, just a few weeks ago, for their security. Again, long-winded answer, sorry. Moving on.
I just want to jump in just on the last question that people would be able to relate. Bob G has been a spokesperson for AVAS for a number of years, and he has said that there's no difference between the paid version and the free version except for extra features. So you can be secure with AVAST and not pay for it if you don't need those extra features.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, Kenneth, is the thing that you showed us with Bitwarden what you showed us before with LastPass? That's my question.
The password generator?
Yeah.
Yeah, John, I sent that link to you privately. I can't send it to everybody, which is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. So I used LastPass before because I knew it was a good one. So let's do that. LastPass.com, is it?
You guys all got that in the first handout that went with the website link, or the video link.
So same options. You pick what you want. Again, this is completely different, nor will it ever repeat than this password right here. I guess that's small. Let me make it bigger for you. Is that big enough? Notice they're different. It's randomly generated. I can do this all day and it's not going to repeat. Generate, copy. There you go. Same algorithm, same thing. LastPass is actually a good password manager. I might have lost my sound. Judy, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I didn't realize you were finished. Okay. Next question is, I have tried using the launch feature in Bitwarden on 3 different websites. It worked on one, but didn't work on the other 2. Why? And can we get more information about that feature?
So who asked that question, and are they on the call?
I don't know. I didn't put any names on. They sent it to me. I've got 2 emails.
Okay. I think they're talking about, what is that email I created? Let's do APCUG. Okay. I think they're talking about this launch button right here.
I believe so.
So let's try it. This is actually Gmail, so we'll go ahead and do that. Why it didn't work, my best guess is that there was something wrong with the URL in here. What I would do is edit and take a look and see if there's something weird. This one's okay, HTTPS. Again, I could delete that if I wanted to. And that might be the answer as well. Maybe it's too specific. It needs to be more generic, so google.com. But it should work. John, have you ever had it fail on you?
Yeah, and I think part of it is that if you have a login, you might have to go to a second page. If you just put gmail.com, that doesn't get you there. You have to go to the gmail.com, login page. So you go to the second one to copy that.
For example, there's gmail.com. Then I click sign in, and really it's this accounts.google.com. So let's put that in there. So I'm going to go ahead and edit new URL. No, the other ones work. Now that might be too specific, but that's what it's taking me to. So I could just go with that, or I can cut out the in part of it. That is very specific. Okay. So that might work. Let's try it. And it is not showing me the whole thing, but that's the second one. So yeah, that didn't work. Let's go back to the other one. This is the one it actually gave me. Yep, that worked fine. So the answer might be go to the sign-in page, copy, again, Control C, and then paste it into your. This is actually a good reason why you really want to do this from the extension, because the extension is going to take the URL that you're on now and make that a part of the launch URL.
I have a clarification.
Oh, good.
It did go to the login page, but never pasted the username or password into the blanks.
Okay.
Was that person using the program or the extension?
Unmute Carol Picard. Carol, can you answer John's question, please?
While we're waiting on Carol, I'll tell you this much, Carol. I have experienced the same thing, and I'm going to show you right here. So here's 2 different logins. I'm on the right page. You saw me copy and paste the URL. I click it, and it says, okay, what do you want me to do? Well, I want you to fill in the password. What I can't determine is why. I do have a lot of G Suite and Google logins, so perhaps it shouldn't be the problem, but perhaps it's getting confused. But sometimes, unfortunately, you just have to copy, paste, copy, paste. I will say I have not seen this. I have not seen this on, oh shoot, what's the other one? 1Password. Oh, good.
Over to you, Carol.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe-
unfortunately, I don't have access to the computer that I made all my notes on, so I'm not sure which one exactly I tried. I think it was the browser extension.
Is it doing what it's doing to me right now?
I'm not sure what it's doing to you right now, but
So you click it like this and it acts stupid and says, I don't know what you want.
When I go to
yeah,
Zoom, because I have multiple Zoom accounts, it won't fill in until I tell it specifically which Zoom account I want to log into.
I can try Zoom. I actually
I'm
do have
pretty sure one of the sites was Speedway, which is a gas station.
I have Speedway.
Yeah,
That's actually an
and
interesting one, Carol.
it didn't
Speedway,
work.
yeah, Speedway uses a different type of login, and I can't remember what it was. So there's something to do with a PIN versus a password. It's one of those oddball sites. There's a few I have like that. There's a medical site that I log into, and it's not quite the password. Oh, the Columbus Library does the same thing to me. I can try logging in there. .org, as I've made that mistake 3 times now. So let's say I want to do some research. I'm going to go to Consumer Reports and try to log in. So right here, it's asking for a card number and a PIN, and it doesn't always work correctly. Let's see what it does today. Looks like it worked all right. So yeah, that worked okay. Bad example, but you said Zoom.
No, that's the one I was doing that won't let me because I have access to like 6 different Zoom accounts.
Yeah, so do I. So let's see if it fails for me. So I actually, oh my gosh, I have 11. I guess it's not quite 11. Yeah, I have quite a few. So here's all the Zoom accounts. Let me go ahead and just try. It works for me. Zoom is working okay. I've really found
It's
it.
just one of those things.
It is. It's hit or miss. Now, I have noticed it consistently on Google's websites, and I don't know. And it's not. That's not even consistent on Google. When I go to G Suite, it seems to work okay, but it is one of those things.
I'll toss one other thing in. With the web addresses, a blank is invisible, but websites see it, and you don't see it. And then if you're trying to put in into your Bitwarden a web address or URL, and you accidentally put an extra space at the end, you don't see it, but it's not going to work. And you just sit there and stare until you click your mouse up there and find out, wait, the mouse is not at the end of the site.
Oh, you mean at the end? I see. Yep. That could throw it off a little bit.
Next question. What if you have 2 accounts at Citibank and use a different ID and password for each one? How will this work with your one email address is not used?
So I think I understand what we're asking. If you have multiple accounts to the same vendor or company, and I actually do have that. Let's go back to Zoom. So you do create the login separately. And then when you go to sign in, Bitwarden shows all of the account in the extension. Let me clarify. If you're in the extension, it will narrow it down to all your Zoom accounts. So I just logged into Columbus Computer Society. If I go here, it's smart enough to say, well, which one do you want? In the case of, oh, what was the one I had one? Ace Hardware. I think it was Ace Hardware. When we went to Ace Hardware, I only had one login. It might still be logged in. I can't see. Yes. Let me go ahead and log out. So when I go to Ace Hardware and I sign in, it's smart and it says you only have one. So it picks one. But Zoom, since I have multiple, shows me everything.
we're not using an email address. My credit union just has a username and password. It does not have anything about an email address.
Yep, that's fine. So Bitwarden doesn't care if the username is an email address or a password. A lot of places do use email addresses. Let me think about this for a second. I had this.
What Jerry does is
Here we
he
go.
makes two
Go ahead.
accounts, so to speak, in there for Citibank.
Yep.
With the, okay, there you go, Jerry. Answered his question.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. This person, oh, Carol found a website that wouldn't allow copy or pasting the password or user ID password from Bitwarden.
Mm-hmm.
You have any suggestions when that happens? It's difficult to type in a long password, especially if it's a site you use all the time.
Uh-huh. So that's a very poorly coded website. They think they're doing you a favor. So they're trying to do right. And we talked about this in a different context. When I need to log into a device like any of my Android phones, it will say, what's your email address? And I give it my email address and it says, what's your password? I don't have Bitwarden available to me right now on that device to paste. So my suggestions: make the password 12 characters long. It's good enough for now. Next year, maybe 13. But for now, 12 characters is enough. Use all those same rules. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to create a new login. You said Citibank. Well, maybe that was the other example. That's fine. Fake account. So let's say my username is my first initial last name. I'm going to generate a password. This is where options come in handy because I do not want to type 21 random characters, but I can handle 12. This is really a judgment call how many you want to do. I suggest 12 as a minimum because at least it's secure enough for now. So save it. And then all I do is I just type this very shortened version of the password. You're correct. There are websites out there that try to help, and by helping, they actually make it more difficult for anyone trying to do the right thing. And I'm looking here because you're here and my camera's there.
Okay, you kind of touched on this just with 12 this year, 13 next year, but it's always been recommended to change passwords on a regular basis. I doubt anybody who's listening to this does that, but that's okay. Is it still a good idea of using Bitwarden since they are more secure? When there was only one computer, changing passwords was inconvenient, but it's much worse now with using apps and websites across multiple devices.
Great, great, great question. So there were password recommendations set. I think it was by the government. There's a story about this. I don't remember the whole context.
No, it was a Google employee.
Google employee? Okay.
I think so.
There
Wasn't the government.
Okay. So there was a person who was given the responsibility of writing rules. And as you know, when you don't know what the hell you're doing, you just make up rules that make sense to you, right? And it made sense to say, well, if we make them change their password every couple times, if it does get compromised, at least we know in the next, I think it was 90 days was the recommendation, or 6 months. It was short in the beginning. If we know it's going to be reset in 90 days, no harm, no foul, in 90 days will be clean and clear. They have since retracted that and said, yeah, that's not helping. It's actually making it worse. Because what people do is they'll say, I'm going to name it, well, as we know, the most common passwords, monkey123. Oh, you want me to change my password? Fine, I'm smarter than you. Monkey1234. Oh, that's good. Thank you for changing it. Next time, monkey12345. And then eventually it wraps around where you can go back to monkey123. That's no longer a recommendation to reset your passwords. However, it doesn't hurt. So if you want to reset, like I just did for my AOL, I can't tell you the last time I reset it. I went in and reset it because I didn't care. It doesn't matter. Now there's an exception to this rule. If your account has been compromised, you need to go reset the password immediately. And Bob in his presentation actually showed a program, I can't remember what it's called, but you can put in your email address and it'll see if you've been compromised. So if you put in your email address and it says, yes, it looks like you've been compromised, you can actually go in and start resetting passwords. 1Password, another password manager that I deeply love, has this really cool feature in it. I can't show you, so I'll try to find it. We learned our little search trick a few times, so let's use that. Site:1password.com. Oops. Site:1password.com. And it's called, oh man, I can't remember. It's been too long since I've used it. So they have this feature in here that actually actively checks for compromised accounts, and it'll tell you if those specific accounts, like Target, unfortunately, they got hacked. Did you guys know this story? Basically, right after it started on Black Friday, somebody got access to their system, and it was through a subcontracting company that was monitoring some system that was not very important, but they wanted to have the ability in. So they got in through the back door, they propagated through the network, they got to the point of sale systems, and everybody that swiped their credit card that, well, it was a couple weeks before they shut it down, they got those credit card numbers. So Target would be one that you'd want to change your password on. This was actually pretty recently, a couple years ago. So 1Password inside the app tells you, hey, all this stuff has been compromised. Go ahead and change it. I haven't seen that in Bitwarden yet, and I don't know if LastPass has it. Have you seen that, Judy?
No, but Dashlane does it.
Dashlane, okay.
And it was a guy from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. I always think Google does everything.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he apologized for telling us to do that, because I know at work I always had to change it, and you know, we'd all change it and then we'd change it back.
Actually,
Yeah.
Firefox does that. Just a web browser gives you a report on all the places that have been compromised that you might have been involved with.
Oh, that's good to know. Another good feather in its cap. Here's what it's called: Watchtower in 1Password. So this is the feature it has. But apparently Firefox does it. So no need to switch password managers. Just use Firefox.
I use, sorry, it doesn't work for me, and it never has.
Well, then there you go.
Yep, which is really weird. Okay, next question. Using a PIN to unlock the vault would save a lot of time and effort, but is slightly less secure. What are your comments on using this and recommendations for the format and length of the PIN?
So, yeah, not a good idea. Length. Okay, here's the problem with a PIN. If you're talking about a numerical PIN, well, now I know I just have a set of numbers. So the best length would be infinity, because I mean, a computer hacking your password is super fast, and they don't go to google.com to log in. They do it on the back end. So very quickly, they can run through various iterations of numbers. So the longer your number is, the better. At that point, what's the point, right? You need to have.
I'll tell you, because I got in touch with their with Bitwarden support, and they suggested using the PIN to unlock vault. Because first of all, it doesn't persist. That is, as soon as you log out, you have to enter your master password again before you can get back in. But if you're changing 100 passwords on a page, and it times out and you get logged out. In my own case, I didn't quite use your trick, because I found that I created a password that it's 21 characters long, but it's easy for me to remember, and their Bitwarden says it would take centuries to crack it. It's all a mixture of stuff, but it's one that I can easily remember, even though it's long. But it still takes a long time to type it in.
So the PIN is temporary. It's not a permanent login.
It's what sort of for your session while you're doing stuff, like while I'm busy trying to change all my 100 passwords that I've got in there that I have never put in a password manager. While I'm doing that, I don't have to keep re-entering my master password all the time. Because that takes a long time.
I see. So that's probably this right here. I have not
Yeah.
explored it, and I'm really happy to hear that it's not permanent, that at some point it locks you out.
Yeah,
So,
you got to put it back in. I mean, the PIN is still there, but you have to log in with your master password.
good.
But the guy from support at Bitwarden suggested it to me.
Yeah, so a similar feature to that on my devices, I have, well, specifically on my phone, I can use my face unlock or my thumbprint unlock or use my master password. Now, it comes down to security versus convenience. Have I chosen to use my fingerprint to unlock? Heck yeah, I have, because I really don't want to enter my master password all the time. But if I restart my device, it does force me to enter the master password. Is it less secure? Yeah, at least while it's unlocked. But it is a security versus convenience. And I actually want to look into this PIN thing now, because that actually sounds intriguing. I'm curious why it's asking you to enter your master password so often. Once you log in on the extension, you'll notice this whole time we've been here, I've been logged in and it hasn't logged me out.
That's because you've
in.
been using it the whole time. You go away for 15 or 20 minutes.
Right, but you can change that right there where
Yeah, I
it
know
says.
you can change it up to 4 hours. But then when I go to my other device, and I've got a lot of devices, I got to enter it again there. And you know, I don't know. It's just you know, that's the thing that's least secure is using your browser password saver, as you've kind of pointed out. But it sure was convenient.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah, here's that setting. And actually, mine is on the least secure setting. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. Thank you very much, Murray. You pointed out an issue that I wasn't aware I had. So there we
By the
go.
way, I'm going to mention something that I didn't send to Judy, and that is that when I first started using this, I you know, just experiment. I started by setting up changing a password on one particular website. Well, when I went back to it the next day, first of all, the password that it supposedly generated didn't work. And when I looked at the password for that website in my vault was actually my master password. I don't know how it got there. Well, then I changed it again to something that was randomly generated and did the synchronization. And lo and behold, 10 minutes later, it was back to my master password. I actually had to delete that website completely from the vault and start all over again. And I don't know why that happened, but that was had me really baffled for a while.
Is that with Bitwarden?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, next question. Murray uses a bank that uses a special device for logging in. He just supplies his username, then presses a button on the device, enters a PIN, and it gives a code to complete the login. Is this sufficiently secure that he doesn't have to use Bitwarden for that? Or if he should, how would he go about doing that?
Yes, it's sufficiently secure. I actually do like those tokens. Is it more secure? I don't know. But I'm wondering what the backup is to get in, because those tokens do eventually die if they're physical devices. I had one for my business account with Huntington years ago. And I always wondered what happens when the battery dies or the device gets lost. So yeah, it's sufficiently secure. There's probably some backup method though. So whatever that backup is, you need to save somewhere. I believe I had multiple codes that they gave me that I copied into my password manager, but I never set up a password for it. Does that answer your question?
Let's go to another question.
Judy's on the phone. She's busy.
That was Bill James. Okay, Murray, we've already talked about 2FA, so I'm crossing that off. Typically, the site, if you use 2FA, will want to send you a code to your phone or to an email address. Does Bitwarden provide a way to get those codes without actually have to go and check the phone, check the email, or whatever? And if so, how do we do that?
Judy, you know the answer to that. No.
Oh, that was the one that I said no to, right?
Yes. It's
okay,
two different
here's one more.
devices, so no.
When you have many devices, do they all get updated with the new entries as you put them in? And you also answered that slowly sometimes.
Yeah. You need to force a sync sometimes, but yes, they do synchronize eventually.
And the last one for him is, what is the priority of changing passwords? He has hundreds of sites and has not used any password manager before, except they're the ones that are built into the browsers, which he shouldn't be using. And that's what he said, which is not secure without my 2 cents worth. Murray, it's going to take you forever and a day to get all of those in there. And I suggest you take a look and see if you actually need access to all those websites. That's my 2 cents worth.
It's a good question too. I ran through the same, this is Murray's question?
Yep. That's
Okay,
his
Murray,
last.
same thing with me. I had more than hundreds, way too many websites. And the answer depends. So if you feel comfortable enough, if you finally trust a password manager, at some point you will, but if you fully trust it or you trust it enough that you know it's not going to lose your password, then I'd say start with your most sensitive accounts. Bank accounts, of course, he doesn't need it because he's got a device, but
Right.
you know, the rest of us have bank accounts where we have a username and password. So I would do bank accounts. I do, what do those tie into? A lot of times the bank account will send you an email to verify. So your email, your primary email accounts are pretty important. Anything to deal with finances, anything that deals with personal information, that's where I would start first. If you don't trust your password manager yet, which I understand, I would start with accounts you don't care about and play with it. But they have to be accounts that you do log into on a regular basis. Otherwise, you're going to do it and then forget about the password manager. So I would suggest sensitive accounts first if you trust your password manager. That's where I'd start.
Follow up on the two-factor. There are some websites it's not going to make a phone call, and you and I both use a website that does this. Proton Mail has two-factor. You have to do your username, password, and then you have to do a second password. And Bitwarden helps me because I can create a second entry and I just leave off the name and just put in the second password. So I do, 2 clicks and I get in because they use that online second or 2FA. So yeah, you can create. You don't have to have even a password. I mean, a username in it. You can just have your password to fill in.
And you can do that in the same login. So here's that Tesla 4 account we have. I'm going to go ahead and edit it. And I'm going to create a special, where is it? Here we go, custom field. Now, I can make it so it shows, or I can make it hidden. I'm going to hide it since it's a password. So pick what you want and then click new custom field. And let's say Proton Mail second password, right? Now I need a value. So either it's been given to me or I need to generate one. So one of these options up here, I always forget where it is, under view, password generator. It generates a password. If I don't like it, I can keep cycling through, of course. Same options. How long do you want it to be? I'm going to go ahead and copy it, close, paste. So there's my second password that was generated for me. And there's the first password, which now I need to go change because this has been recorded. So why don't I go ahead and change that password while I answer the next question?
Okay. Which browsers can you customize to have it not pop up and say, that annoying, would you like me to save your password?
Which browsers?
Yeah, when you don't want that to pop up all the time, which browsers give you the option to not have it pop up?
I think they all give you the option. I know I have it in Firefox and Chrome. I don't use Safari very often, so let me just do a search here. So right here in Firefox, ask to save logins and passwords, turn it off, you're done. There should be a similar setting in all the browsers.
Folks, if that's as annoying to you as it is me, and you don't need that extra click, turn it off in all the browsers you use.
Yep.
I am finished with my questions. So why don't you unmute everybody and throw it open to whoever has whatever.
Yep, because I've got a couple questions that people have been waiting patiently. So I will go in and do this. And we're going to start with Anita F. If you want to unmute yourself, I thought it was easier for you to ask the question with Ken and get your help than for me to try to pass it on. So Anita, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi. I'm not very good at remembering where I was, but I had trouble getting into Bitwarden by using the extension. So I had to use the vault.com. And when I did that and tried and entered the information in the vault area and then try to launch it into the site, it wouldn't do it for me. So I ended up with no new password in the site. And I think it might be because I can't enter it through the extension, which you seem to love.
No, I actually prefer the app. The extension I don't use. Yeah,
Okay.
I like the app better. The comment or multiple comments was, well, I'm never going to use the app. I want the extension. So right now I've been forcing myself to use the extension. It's very uncomfortable for me, but I'm doing it.
So I should use Vault. I should continue to use vault.com and try to figure out why I can't make it launch.
Well, your question has many other questions it spawns for me, but Vault. So you're going to bitwarden.com to log into the Vault?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, which
Okay.
then would be your third choice of doing things. So more than 2 ways, you got 3 ways.
Sorry, I had to change this password since everybody saw it and it's on a recording.
I was going to order me a car.
Yeah,
Well, there's no
darn.
credit card, so, feel free. There we go. And I'm sorry, what was your what was your question in that? I think I missed the question.
Yeah, she's trying to use, she's going to bitwarden.com on the web, which is then your third choice of using Bitwarden.
Which is fine. You can do that. So I've done that before. Now, I do this a lot. Actually, I did it today at work. There was a password I needed to log into a different account to get a template. And then I used that template at work. So I opened up since I was on a public computer, I opened up a new private window that doesn't save your history. I went to bitwarden.com. I don't need to do that here, but pretend that I did. And then, of course, I put in my email address, put in my master password. Oops, type it correctly. Yeah, one of my dogs hit their head.
Right. This is the screen I was on, and well.
Yep. This is fine. Whatever you want to use, honestly.
Okay. All right.
I think this is a little more difficult to use than the app. But, if it works for you, use it.
Can I say something in regards to Anita's problem? It's Dorothy here.
Sure, Dorothy.
I was helping Anita, and it did not matter what we tried. She could not launch Bitwarden using the extension. We didn't know if it was possibly something to do with her font in the browser.
Let me ask the question. Could she not start up Bitwarden?
Only if she went to the website.
So
I
what
would
web browser?
Yeah, I would uninstall and reinstall the extension to make sure that it didn't get a fluey one.
Okay.
I have had that happen in Chrome before. What web browser?
Anita.
Chrome.
Bingo. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, now.
Yep. I've had it happen in Chrome. And how did I fix it? I don't remember. It was like a circus act trying to get it to work. I think it had something to do with the extension was hit. Oh, that's what it was. Do I have Chrome on here? I don't know if I have Chrome yet. I do.
Interestingly, this extension you set up for me on the last session.
Ah, go figure.
He did that on
Not
purpose.
my fault. Well, maybe it was a little
Yeah.
bit of my, who knows, right?
You wanted to be able to have something to come back to this week.
That's right. We did that on, that's a feature, not a problem. It's a feature. So let me see if it does it this time on Chrome, because I have seen it. Stop. Stop. Now I have a dog trying to get in the trash, which there's nothing in there food-wise. And I had to fix it. Okay, so see what it did? It disappeared. It came in and then it said, nope, just kidding. So I went into this button. So check this out. Dorothy, right, was having the issue?
No, Anita.
Anita, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was talking to Dorothy second. Okay, so right here, there's this new button. It was an update, I'm sure, because I hadn't seen it before. This button, you see Bitwarden is clearly right there, and you see this little pin?
Yeah.
Watch the magic happen. Watch this area, okay? Here we go, pin, and there it is.
Yeah, we had that, but we couldn't log in.
Ah, so now you get to this part and you were stuck,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Okay. I have no idea why you can't log in. If you're logging in the website, it should be exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can you try to log in and see?
do you want to try logging in now on
Me?
your are you on that computer?
I am. So you want
Okay.
me to share screen?
You don't have to. You could just try it and see if it works.
Oh, I see. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay. Bitwarden password. Press the little unpin extension. No.
You want to have it pinned. Let me turn it back off. So you'll go here.
Just hold on. Lost you. Whoops. Lost you.
It's like that ink smudge mark look. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
So click that, and then the pin needs to be blue, all blue, not white.
Okay, it is blue.
Okay, so you see Bitwarden next to the smudge mark.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and click it.
Okay, well, I don't know if I did that right. I can't tell.
John, do you want to allow her to share her screen?
Well, the question is, does she get to the screen that you see?
Yes, yes, I do.
And then you click login. Does it come up to the two boxes that way?
I'm not at this big blue screen, no. All I'm at is I'm at a screen that says, just a sec. No.
Back up one spot, Ken. Cancel that out.
Oh, dear. I don't even know if I'm there. Am I still there? Yeah, I'm there. Okay. I can't get to this screen.
No, which screen?
This one that says Bitwarden browser exit. The blue screen that's there.
Oh, ignore that. That's the website. Ignore that.
I'm at my smudge. I open my smudge and it says extensions, full access. These extensions can see and change information on this site. I will change the little pin to look blue.
Good.
It says unpin extension.
So is the pin currently blue or white?
Yeah, it's blue.
Okay, so don't click it.
Okay.
And then click out of the smudge mark. I don't know what that is. Is that a puzzle piece?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, puzzle piece.
Okay, go out of it and
Next to the smudge puzzle piece, ink, whatever you want to call it, you'll see the Bitwarden icon to the left of it.
yeah. Okay, got there. Okay.
Click that.
Okay. Yes.
Now you need to log in.
With my
Click login.
oh.
And whatever you do, don't say your password as you type it unless you want everybody to have access to it.
Okay, I'm doing it. So it is.
John, did you have any other questions?
Yes.
See, there's my, oh, you can't see it. An error has occurred. Username or password is incorrect. And I know that the password I put in there is correct because it works when I go into the vault.com.
Now let me ask you the question: when you go into to bitwarden.com into the vault, is Chrome adding the username and password?
No, I do that.
As a first grade teacher, I would say if you type it correctly in the web and you type it correctly here, it should work. If you're not typing, if it doesn't work in the extension, you're not typing it correctly. So,
but there's another thing. She says she's going to vault.com, not Bitwarden.
what's vault.com? Is it, Kenneth? Is there a?
No, it's bitwarden/vault.com.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Bitwarden
you know, as the
/vault?
teacher, if you're typing it in both places, somehow the keyboard is not typing the same thing in both places. That's.
I can tell you what the problem is. It has the letter L in it, which looks like a capital I. And when I type it in, it looks like a number 1 when I do it in this screen I'm in now. If I type it into bitwarden.vault, it seems to understand it. So it's because I accepted a weird looking Bitwarden password without realizing it was going to cause a problem. And now I can't change it because they say, no, you can't. You've already got this signed up with the same email. So I can't change it.
Yeah.
Can't change your Bitwarden vault password?
Yeah, my master password.
Well, that's interesting. I'm going to go try to change mine right now. Let's see.
Because I wouldn't think that if you're using the same keyboard typing in, that it wouldn't make a difference on that, but that's a computer.
I know.
Okay, let me try to change it because I don't mind. I've actually been meaning to change it.
Yeah, change master password. So it
Right
can
here.
be done.
Yep. So do me a favor, Anita. We'll move on to the next question. We're running out of time, but log into your vault. And then at the top where it has the little head and shoulders icon that I'm showing right here.
Yes.
Click that. And then you go to my account. And underneath my account, you'll see change master passwords, like the third section. Go ahead and put in what you've been putting in, and then change it to what you want to be, and then try it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, do you have one? I have one last question too.
Okay. Ladies first.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you can't. I'm not muted.
Now we can. Your head turned. Your mic stopped.
Got it. It seems that when in private browsing window, extensions aren't available. So I can't use extension with private browsing? Question?
Yes, you can.
You can. Yep. And on Firefox, it's better. It asked me, do you want to allow it in private browsing? And I said, yes, of course, because I trust my password manager. In Chrome, it jumps by that. Now, the real question should be, how do I fix that? I don't know. I'm glad you asked. Let's find out. So in extensions, let's see if we have options here. So I'm going to manage this Bitwarden extension. Now, Firefox is obviously different than Chrome. Okay, so here we go. Run in private windows, allow, don't allow. So I bet if you dig into settings, specifically if you dig into extensions, It's just a toggle or a checkbox that you need to set, but it can be allowed.
Okay, Stephen W., how about your question? Because I was going to ask it, but I want somebody to ask it so that Ken doesn't think it's just always me.
Ken, you mentioned AUTHY that you use for two-factor authentication. Could you just show us how you do that?
Yes, because it'll change in 30 seconds, so it won't work for you anymore. I need to stop sharing my computer and then reshare via AirPlay, if it'll let me. Okay, I think we can do this.
Not yet. There we come.
Okay, so you download the app. Let's start there. App Store. Search, and then type Authy. Now, the Google Play Store works the same way. So, oh, that's funny. LastPass is on top.
They paid him.
Yep. That's weird. They changed their name. So I guess it's now called this, which is interesting. So they must have got bought. That might be a good sign, might be a bad sign. So I have open, but you should have something like download or install. It might even be a cloud with an arrow through it, depending on if you used it for. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it. And here is my temporary code for my Hotmail account. So I have 8 more seconds to enter this authentication key. And here you're gonna watch it change. 1 and reset. So now for 30 seconds, this code will work. This was synchronized using a QR code. QR code is a bunch of information in this weird block that you scan with your phone. I have this for Log Me In. I have it for Gmail. I have it for apparently Adobe. I didn't even know I had an Adobe account. That's funny. Dropbox.
Oh,
Outlook.
remind me to tell you why you want that.
Why do I want that,
Yeah,
John?
remind me off this because this.
Okay.
But please, let's get on this subject. So when you get this, how are you using it?
So, well, I can show you. So I'm going to stop sharing the iPhone and I'm going to reshare my desktop. And since I haven't used, what the heck is that? I have no idea. Since I haven't used Hotmail on this account yet, let me go ahead and log in.
Well, I mean for Bitwarden.
Right.
Oh,
He's
it's
got
not. It's not for Bitwarden. It's a separate thing.
I thought you said you used this for two-factor authentication for Bitwarden.
I use it for two-factor authentication, but it does nothing to do with Bitwarden. It's a second password.
Can you use it? Can you use it with Bitwarden?
It's more of a compliment, like hamburger and fries. You don't have to have the fries, but it tastes better, right? So they're separate entities. They're completely different.
No, I understand that. I thought you mentioned it specifically in regard to Bitwarden.
Well, Bitwarden does have a two-factor authentication built in that I don't use.
That's what he was kind of alluding to, is that it has it that you can use, but he prefers, if he has to do a two-factor, to do it with a third party.
Yeah, I think what you do, you use Bitwarden to get the password for first part of the password, then you use authy to get the second factor. Is that it?
That's what I do, yes.
So the question I would ask is then you have to somehow coordinate with the website that's going to demand a second two-factor that would normally call your phone. You have to somehow say, I'm going to use authy to satisfy you making me do a two-factor authentication.
Yes, it would be a setting in the account.
Okay.
So for example, Apple ID,
mm-hmm.
they want a two-factor authentication, and they really want to either send a code to your cell phone or phone you at a phone number. So how would you use Authy to do that so you didn't have to go to your phone or whatever, or can you?
Great question, Murray. As we all know, Apple goes by their own rules, and they have a different way to do two-factor, which I don't like, to be quite honest with you, because
Neither
they
do I.
assume, yeah, good. They assume you have two Apple devices. I happen to currently have two Apple devices, but at one point in my life, I did not. So if you have two Apple devices, it wants to send that push to the other one. I don't like it, but let me tell you something. Two-factor, at least it's doing something and not nothing. I just wish they followed industry standards. Hear me, Apple, please follow industry standards.
So the answer is no, you can't use Authy for that.
No, not for Apple accounts.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Here's an article on
Well, this has
setting
been
up
really
two-step.
good, but I'm going to have to leave. Thank you very much, everybody. But I just time is up for me.
Okay.
Well, my
Time's
other
almost
question,
up for all of us.
That was really great.
Ken, my other question was, I've watched, can you hear me?
Yes.
I've watched 3 different YouTube videos on transporting or exporting my passwords from LastPass, and I find it very confusing. Have you already covered that? Because I had a prank call that took up the first half hour of our meeting here, and then I had to come back. Have you already covered that?
Not today. We have covered it, yes. So there are wonderful help articles. I'm sending you another link, John, on Bitwarden. Let's cover this again. So I actually don't use Google, so I don't know why I keep going back to Google. Let's go to DuckDuckGo. Go to your favorite web browser, and anytime you're searching for something specific to a website, you know that you can put in terms and it's going to show you terms for multiple websites. But what I want is specifically from bitwarden.com. And the way I do that is I type site : that tells the search engine only search through this next bit that I type, bitwarden.com. And then you were trying to import from LastPass, was it?
Yes.
So import LastPass. And the very first article is actually probably the one we want. But notice all the links go to bitwarden.com, bitwarden.com, bitwarden.com. It cuts out the junk. So that's a little tip for you.
Now the comma separated value file, is that automatically translated in Bitwarden to what it needs to be?
Yeah, the CSV files are a common file format, and it can import from that. But I don't know what it uses for LastPass, so let's just quickly take a look here. Yes, it does. So it's going to decrypt the data and export it into a CSV. So you're temporarily at risk here because all your passwords are in a file, right? And then it's going to use that file to import. I will tell you this, Stephen. I have exported my data. I can't remember if it was in a CSV or not, but when I did it from 1Password, it did a good job. I just had some extra junk. Like I randomly would have another login for Adobe, and I just deleted the one that had nothing in it, but it actually did a good job of importing the passwords in. So this is the article you want right here, specifically for LastPass.
And
Okay.
I'll comment that that's what I did because I used to be a LastPass until I got mad at them, and I imported it right into Bitwarden, and possibly it's been so long, could have had a few little glitches like Ken did, whenever you're trying to switch over to one to the other, but all of mine went right in and no problem.
Okay, all right. So there's no copying and pasting or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Now, what I would probably do afterwards is, now that I've used stuff, I might change some passwords, but I might go in and organize them different, because I can't remember how LastPass did it, but with Bitwarden, I have all my passwords in folders. for
Yeah,
categories.
right. Well, they're categories in LastPass and then they're folders in Bitwarden. Okay. All right.
Okay, I
Okay.
couldn't remember that.
I love folders in Bitwarden. It's the only way I can stay organized. How many passwords do I have now? Let's just look. I don't know if it gives me a total or not. That's not as bad as I thought. Oh, wait, it's still going. Look at this. Without folders, I'd be in trouble.
Yep, you would.
So here's all my folders. Love folders.
Have any more questions?
Don't forget to unmute. There are no stupid questions. Believe me, I've asked stupid questions.
They are only clarifying.
Yes.
Or it's your buddy who has the question. You're going to ask it for him.
Right. Okay, you guys, gone.
If you use a backup, you back up your Bitwarden vault, where do you keep that and how do you keep it secure?
That's a great question. I've never done an export of my vault to back it up. Is there a build, John, I'm asking you, is there a way to back it up through Bitwarden that you know of?
Since it's in the cloud now, it's backed up, but
Yeah.
there might be an export feature that you could export it
There is.
and stick it up in Dropbox or something. But since it's in the cloud, then it's backed up there.
And there's two ways to think about a backup. If you delete something and then you get out and it synchronizes and a month later you come back and say, oops. Well, if you don't have a backup of the old one, then it's not a backup. With the cloud, it's going to synchronize what you delete. There is a good feature though. They have this trash folder, and I don't know what I have set up, but these are all accounts that I've deleted for whatever reason. At some point, they do get removed. So you could go into Export Vault, but realize it's going to export it into a file format that can be read. JSON file is just an easy to read text file. CSV is basically a spreadsheet. I'm not going to do it, but if I were to do this, it would just be out in the open on a spreadsheet that I can open up. So now what do you do with it? Well, you probably want to put it on a hard drive that's encrypted and then take the hard drive to somewhere other than where you are and lock it up. So I don't know if it's worth it, but it's a good question. How do you back it up? That's the only way I know how. Export and then back it up and make sure you encrypt the heck out of it.
I'm glad nobody asked a question about how can I print them all out?
Oh no, please don't do that. Please don't. I don't even know if you can. I guess you could if you exported to CSV and then print, but good luck typing those 21 character passwords. I wish you the best of luck.
While you are thinking last questions, I do want to remind you that November 7th, we will be having our VTC. On November the 11th at 12 o'clock Eastern time, which will then be standard time again. Bill James will have his third home automation for seniors. On November 18th, we'll have our workshop number 2 for learning Linux. And then we'll repeat stuff in December. So please make sure that you use the email that you got from APCUG and register for all of those activities. If you're an officer.
I just quickly Googled how do I back up Bitwarden, and there's areas on the Bitwarden website that will tell you how to do it.
Good. And I will say that if you are an officer listening here to my voice, we would like you to be at the APCUG board meeting and be able
It's not
to
a
share.
board meeting.
It's an annual meeting.
It's an annual meeting for the state of the organization.
Thank you clarifying that. The board will be there, but it's not a board
Somebody
meeting.
else will.
So join us for that. Any other questions? I'll leave the chat box open in case you have a few. And again, as usual, Judy will be sending out some of these links that we put into the chat box that we see. And any questions that she finds that we didn't answer, I think we did a good job of answering them all. We'll send a follow-up. The video will also be available for just you, so that you can review what we've done today. I want to thank Ken. Again, at the present, this is our last scheduled Bitwarden workshop. I'm sure that if you have individual questions, you can send them to Judy, and she can get them on to Kenneth and get you helped. We sure hope that you've learned what you needed to, and that you give Bitwarden or any password manager, as Kenneth said, he liked LastPass and he did like the 1Pass, but he found that the features of Bitwarden best met his needs. Same thing for you. So otherwise, we will bid you all adieu until our next time. Be safe, take care of yourself. We'll see y'all.
Good night.
Judy ducked out that quick. Wow.
She might have another meeting to go to on West Coast
Oh.
time, because it's 9 o'clock our time, so it's 9:876. Get a bite to eat, and then she may be online in an hour.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Kenneth. And I'm going to stop the recording because I should have stopped it already.